All right, y'all. Sorry about that. Internet was acting up. So let me give a couple more people some time to get on before we get started. I hope everybody's okay and I hope everybody's doing all right. So this is going to be divine masculine and karmic update. So if you're in separation, this message is definitely for you. So we're going to tap in and see what's going on. We're going to be a little nosy, tap in, see what Spirit has to say about their connection. All right, everybody jump on, jump on. Let's see what we're going to get today. Make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe if you're new. All right, so let's get started. Let's see what's going on with this connection with the divine masculine and karmic. If this resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. All right. If you guys want to donate information is in the description. I do have a PayPal Cashapp. It's optional. All right, so let's see what's going on here with the. All right, so the first card we got the warrior for the masculine. All right. So the masculine's in his little warrior spirit. Okay, and I say little warrior spirit only because he is still in his lower masculine self, his childish masculine self, where he feels like what they say in like a kid at a candy store. Okay, so that warrior spirit is not of his highest spirit; it's of his low. Okay, still immature, but still standing in his little warrior spirit. Okay, his little warrior spirit, like his little mini masculine energy. Okay, so it looks like this masculine still needs more time to grow. Okay, because the spirit just came out of nowhere and said little warrior spirit. Okay, so he's definitely tapping into that. Okay, it's like a candy store. The spirit is saying it's like he still feel like he can have his cake and eat it too. All right, he still feel like he can have his cake and eat it too. So let's see. Maybe he's been a little bit overprotective. Okay, so we have invisible. All right. So it's like he got 1 foot in and 1 foot out of his little karmic situation. All right. And spirit is pretty much saying it's like the connection that they have. It's just some of them might have came into a new relationship with a karmic, or it's just that they're just taking it for a test drive. It's just like a sample. But in this case, he's like 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the connection. Okay. He feels like a part of his ego wants to stand up for the connection, and the other part just don't. But it's still immature. He still feels like he's not being loved and respected out of that connection because he's feeling invincible. Okay, and that's the same thing with the karmic. The karmic is trying to figure out what's going on with the masculine. Why does he only have so much, like why is he giving only just a little bit? Like it's a sexual thing, it's a financial thing, but she still feel like he's not giving her as much love as she expects him to. Okay, so and a part of that is just the masculine's still stuck on his self. Let's see what else. So he should. That's why I see. That's why Spirit said little warrior spirit, because he got 1 foot in and 1 foot out, so he's not giving his all. Okay, you got the moon card. All right, most definitely. Spirit is pretty much saying that intuition does play a part into it. The karmic is being triggered intuitively, being told, look, he's not giving you what you want, you need to leave. But she's not going to take the red flags. Um, she's still going to try to fight for that connection with the masculine. So maybe that's her masculine side picking up. Okay. So we got understanding. Okay. So it's like they're telling this karmic, you know, it's not gonna work out. The masculine's not giving 100%. All right. So we got that. He's only giving a little, only secure what he wants and what he needs out of this connection, and then once he's done, he's just gonna, move on to the next option. Um, he's feeling like she's not giving enough. She's feeling like he's not giving enough, and it's pretty much taking its toll on the both of them. All right. They both feel invincible in the situation. They both feel like nobody's like, cause they kind of signed like this kind of 3D contract. Like, I'll be with you if you're making sure I got this, that, and the third. So they both was doing the same thing. So it's like the masculine might have, drifted off and started messing with someone else or talking to someone else. The attention is not there. Karmic is starting to realize that. Masculine is starting to, realize that, because the masculine started like to pull away, and everybody's just starting to pull away in a way. So it's more of intuition pulling them apart. Okay, it's like, it sounds a little selfish, I know, but it still has a part to do with um, divine pulling them apart. Okay, intuition is really kicking in, and they're starting to understand. Both of them are starting to understand what's really going on here. It's like they're not getting enough. Give me one more, spirit. Okay, yeah. So they coming to the conclusion that it's a wrap between them two. So some of them will go into separation. Some of them have already gone into separation, but there's just not enough there when it comes to the two of them. Okay, so there's gonna be some kind of pull. All right, they're being pulled apart, and they're starting to understand. It was like almost like if they had you guys, you divine feminines hovering around as far as consciously as well as physically. They're starting to understand what they blaming the feminine. They're like, what, maybe she was right. It's like you got the karmic saying, well, maybe she was right. Or like the masculine saying, well, maybe she was right, because they both saying that the feminine was right. Maybe you're not my type, or maybe I shouldn't be with you. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they both see the feminine, because some of them be on your Facebook, some of them be on your Instagram, and maybe you'll be posting things and whatnot. But some of them feel like the divine feminine has been right all along, and this understanding is pulling them apart, because the like I said, the karmic is feeling like the masculine is not giving its 100%. You might have been a feminine who might have snuck a couple of words to them, like, oh, they're using you, they don't even care about you, and you're not really the one for them, and so on and so forth. So she's starting to see it manifest, as well as the masculine feeling like the same thing, like the feminine said, oh, you're not the one for me, and she's the wrong woman, and so on and so forth. So they starting to see what's going on. So they're both starting to feel invisible in the connection, and they're not getting to the point. So what's going on? That's why I said little warrior spirit, little warrior spirit. They both are being like, okay, well, they're tit for tatting right now. It's like they tit for tatting, they pulling away, but they tit for tatting. Like, all right, well, if you don't, the threats together is if you don't do it, somebody else will. And then the whole thought of the divine feminines, who has manifested, before and after, has triggered this separation. Okay? So let's see what's going on with the warrior spirit. So, yeah, with the warrior spirit, like I said, they're suffering. Like I said, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So when it comes to the warrior spirit of these two, they're suffering in silence. So the karmic stepped into the masculine frequency and pretty much exposed. Oh, I'm sorry about that. My battery about to run low. And pretty much exposed themselves. So they just like I said, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They got half of they belief in it, like, hey, they talking shit too. They also talking spirit, saying that they bringing up the feminine, they bringing up the divine feminine a lot, and it's causing them to rip apart. Now, if you are divine feminine and the karmic is coming to you and attacking you and stuff like that, make sure you get yourself out of the picture because it's not all your fault. Okay, it's just they was just in a situation that was never supposed to be. So you as the target, okay, you divine feminines as a target, step away because they will have to see that you was never the target. They have to see each other because they will use you as the bounce back. Okay, they targeting each other. They need somebody to blame it on. So the karmic may blame it on you. The masculine may blame it on you. Then they'll put them back into a connection they shouldn't be in again. So you, the divine feminine, has to stand back. Let that cycle. Let them realize that they were never meant for each other in the first place, and that's pretty much what's happening. They're both realizing that they should have never been in this relationship, and they're suffering in silence, and it's really hurting the both of them. So let them go through the cycle because this is what this is what they will learn. They will learn that they should have never been with them in the first place. They could have had children with him, married to him, whatever. They will learn regardless that this person was just not the one. They're starting to regret, like I said, one foot in, one foot out. They're starting to regret the decisions that they made. But there is some boundaries, bonds or something. Let me see. Bondage, yeah, bondage. Spirit said bondage going on where maybe they had an agreement physically, might have created children, got married, or some kind of, housing or financial situation that got them bonded into that connection. And once that's gone and there's some growth between that, as far as the masculine gaining his own independence and vice versa, or, feminine, the feminine finding someone else, they will separate. And that's pretty much what's happening right here. So let's see. So yeah, so some of them are feeling invisible because, they no longer want to be in this connection anymore. They will cross over. Okay, they will cross over and they will, like I said, they will realize what's going on. But you don't want to be the one in the way while they're going through this shedding. Okay, so once these persons realize, like, okay, I had enough, they're gonna eventually cross over as far as like accept that this is not working out, and then they're just gonna move on. Okay, so when it comes to the moon card, you got, when it comes to their relationship, okay, it's pretty much like I said, it's spirit pulling them apart. Okay, their intuitions is really kicking in and telling them that this relationship is not working, that they can do better. Okay, some of them have done better and didn't realize what they had until it was gone, and then some of them just haven't, and they have to move forward because this disconnection is done and over with. But spirit is pretty much saying now that they're feeling invincible and they have no connection with their karmic partner, because the masculine is also a karmic in a karmic situation. They will eventually take the little bit of power that they got. So don't let them use you, feminine, if you're watching. Don't let them use you as the bounce back, to their rebound. Be a rebound to their situation. Don't be the rebound to their situation. Stand back and let them see, that you will never rebound. And you will never be a rebound. Okay. Let's see what else. So let them go through their shift so they can see. Okay. So understanding. When it comes to understanding, you got the sneaky fox. So a lot of them, like I said, it's been a lot of he say, she say going on, a lot of drama. So a lot of them are starting to understand that this shit was never meant to be. Okay, and they've been very sneaky about what they thought was a real connection, but they have fell for the illusion as far as physical lust, and they played themselves. Okay, so most likely, when it comes to that understanding, like I said, feminine, you stand out the way and let them get to their own understandings on their own. Don't go that I told you so, I told you, I told you so. Don't do that. Third parties shouldn't be happening right now. They should, if you're a third party and you're a divine feminine and you're part of the third party situation, get your ass out of it because it shouldn't be happening. If they're going to do a third party situation, let them do it with karmic. They're all karmics. They're all toxic. Let them do that. You take the divine out of the situation and let them deal with that that little Pandora's box. Okay. So let's see. All right. So when it comes to the conclusions, okay, so some of them are realizing that, this shit wasn't it. So they're coming to the conclusion that the divine feminine was pretty much right, especially the masculine. Masculine is like, damn, I really let go of somebody good. I really let go of somebody who can bring a lot to my life, and I played myself. And the karmic is saying that, thinking about, their ex and thinking about what their ex said, because they pretty much threw away something that was good and just to end up in something that was not. So, yeah, that's what they came to the conclusion of, all right, is realizing that they played themselves and realizing that they never really meant anything to each other once that deal has been broken. Okay, so you can only make so many deals with darkness before it exposes itself. Okay, in the whole ordeal between the two. Okay, so I'm not going to keep it too long because my phone's about to die. But I do appreciate everybody for jumping on. Like I said, if you want to book a personal reading, go ahead and do that. My information is in the description as well as my pricing. So you don't have to, look too far for it. But like I said, when it comes to this connection, it was just not mature enough. They were not mature enough to handle each other. They were not mature enough to handle the deal that a physical deal, a physical yes or no, and it didn't work. In the beginning it was fun, but now it's they're done. So they're gonna either start separating slowly or separate fast. Some of them have, like I said, Spirit says some of them have bondage to each other. They have to work their way out of it. But if they have no bondage with you, as far as the karmic, if they have no bondage with you and they have no strings attached to you no more, they're just gonna cut you loose and move on to the next. So that is what's going on in the karmic and masculine update. Separation is definitely coming for them only because of simple fact, and this is for those who are in separation, away from your divine partner. Um, they're just starting to see each other for who they really are. They don't like it. They don't like the sneakiness. They're starting to see what everybody else was talking about. They're starting to see that this relationship was not really divine. It was pretty toxic. They're starting to see that the people that they did let go and the people that they really did turn their back on just for that moment has been truly, genuinely on their best interest side. Some of them, they're gonna come out of this and they're gonna just move on. They're gonna move over, not move over, move on to the next. You know how they would say, sit down if you can't stand up. So that's pretty much what's happening. They just, taking that walk. Like I said, little spirit, because of the still dealing with his and her warrior spirit, but it's still immature. It's not quite mature enough. They're gaining wisdom. They're gaining their power because a lot of them, like a lot of you feminines, if you're out there, they coming with the new world, a new shift. People are coming across a lot of knowledge across the media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, and social media. They're coming across a lot of knowledge that's really triggering their well being, and they're thinking about their past. Like oh, they're speaking about it. Well, I really want to speak about my past because they couldn't do this. They couldn't heal. They couldn't. They starting to realize, as far as both of them, both of these, because they're both karmics in this situation. They're starting to realize their worth as well as what's really going on. They're starting to see that the relationships is not as what it was and what it should be. They're starting to realize, okay, this is really about to. People are really going to break up like more than ever. Marriages are really going to be destroyed when it comes to the new world. Those illusionalized marriages, the perfect world marriages, is coming to an end because at the end of the day, it's unconditional love, and if they truly love each other, they would really have to love each other, flaws and all. You know what I'm saying? You gotta love somebody from afar before you can love them in union. Okay, so when you've mastered the ability to love from afar, then you can master the ability to love in union. Okay, because you from afar will love unconditionally, and then when you meet the person in the body, comes along with the mind, body, and soul, they would be able to love each other because they would speak about the experiences that they've learned in separation. So in this case, they can't learn shit from each other. The only thing they really did learn, and it's not really that much of a big ass lesson, it was pretty much just a waste of time. That's all they learned. It's just a waste of time. Time they cannot get back. And the both of them are pretty much like, I'm not about to do this shit again. I'm gonna be careful and be mindful who I jump into a relationship with. And a lot of masculines do this because they're so vulnerable to relationships that they just jump into shit they think it's okay, and then they get hurt. And a lot of feminines do the same thing. Um, a lot of feminines get a lot of options. A lot of masculines have a lot of options, depending on who they are. But everybody was being an opportunist. They both were being an opportunist. They came together. They made a big mistake. They learned a little bit from it. Most likely, what they will do is try to run underneath somebody that's picture perfect and realize it again until they realize they shouldn't do that at all. They should really just stay alone until the right one comes along where they have that soul recognition. Okay, so that is what's going on in this karmic situation. That is the update with them. Spirit is pretty much saying it's just not going to work. They're going to just break apart if they have no bonds. If they don't have to go to court, they don't have to do this and do that, shit like that. Spirit said they're just going to separate with no problem. Will they come back to feminines if you're watching? They brought you up a lot, and you guys have been the motivators to it because you were always the cheerleader saying, "Hey, masculine, that's not the one, it's me." Or the karmic will see that you said to the masculine or said to her that, "Hey, you guys are not meant to be together." Da, da, da. So you guys were pretty much the target right now. So just stand back if divine feminines and allow these karmics to destroy each other. Do not save neither one of them because they're going to make you the reason for their downfall, okay? So that is the reason. Peace.